Hello, everybody. Let's try that again. Act like I was the original invite. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Good. Okay, well, I'm going to talk with you all a little bit about Opportunity Nation today, but I'm also going to talk with you all about data and how you all can use data as an agent for change in your communities, whether it's your communities, in your schools. Data is a very powerful tool, and I'm going to talk with you a little bit about how you all can utilize that in your communities. So as I said, my name is Selena Gonzales Jones, and I am the Director of Impact and Community Engagement at Opportunity Nation, which is located in Washington, D.C. And so what that really means is that I'm responsible for building and maintaining relationships with our coalition. That's the community engagement part. But the impact part means partially that I'm the data geek on staff, but also that I work with our organizations about using data in whatever organizations that they're working at, whether they're at schools, colleges, nonprofits. How do they utilize the data that Opportunity Index provides in order to advance public policy? So a little bit about Opportunity Nation. We're a bipartisan campaign. We're made up of over 350 coalition members. NAF is a proud member of one of our coalition, and we really work with these coalition members in order to advance public policy that works to close the opportunity gap that we have here in America. And we do that in 3 different ways. One way is measuring access to opportunity, and that's done through our Opportunity Index, which is a tool that we produce every year. One way is convening bipartisan groups, and the other way is advancing bipartisan legislation. So the makeup of our coalition, which you all might be interested in, is since we're a national organization, we work directly in states, over 37 states with 64 different organizations, many of which are education-based, working with high schools, elementary schools, many of them working directly with these populations. And we also have members that are a part of our coalition, that are a part of our steering committee, that really help us to see what the issues are on the ground as we aren't working directly with students and other people. They really give us that insight into what is going on and what they need help advancing and supporting. So one of the public policy changes that Opportunity Nation is really looking to advance is CTE, which is Career and Technical Education. So this is the largest federal education program to touch both secondary and post-secondary students, but is really focused on making sure that students have certain skills that will help them to be successful in the workforce. And that's why Opportunity Nation is so behind CTE. So I talk with you all a little bit about our index, and one thing that the purpose of our index is really about how where you live should not determine your access to opportunity. And we know that here in the US that is a huge issue. So what we work to do is to create this index every year that lets people know how people have access to opportunity solely based on what their zip code is. An example that we give is if you have 2 students, say John and Janelle, and they're living in 2 separate counties. He's living in Somerset County, New Jersey, and she's living in Marion County, Florida. Those counties can have similar populations, they can have similar unemployment rates, but their access to opportunity is still starkly different, just simply based on their zip codes. If you look at some of the factors, once you look into their zip codes, the median household, stark differences. Poverty rate, stark differences. Higher education and youth not working or in school, stark differences. These things all impact the access that that child has to opportunity based on where they live with seemingly similar characteristics. So what we do is we give a grade based on counties and states, where we give states a grade from 1 to 100, and we give counties a grade from A to F. And it's based off of our definition of opportunity, which is made up of 16 different factors that fall within 3 areas. And as you see, when we look at the opportunity as a whole, John versus Janelle, they have an A-, and a C-, and they're coming from communities that are essentially the same size and the same unemployment rate. So when you go onto our website and you look at our opportunity index, you'll see a map similar to this. You'll see the opportunity is shaded darker in areas with higher opportunity access and lighter blue in areas with not as much opportunity access. We have 3 different dimensions that are made up of a total of 16 factors. This is a tool that's free that anyone can get online and look at it. And these are the factors that we look at. For economy, we look at things such as jobs and wages. For education, we look at things such as post-secondary enrollment and high school graduation. And for community, we look at things such as access to healthy foods. All of these things are a wide range of things that allow people to have access to opportunity, and they really impact what people's day-to-day lives look like. So our methodology for coming up with our scores for the index is that those 3 factors are all evenly weighted, and we look at those factors. Sometimes people ask us things such as why we maybe not look at gender or why we don't look at race, and we really focus on factors that when we look at them, we're able to create public policy changes that will directly deal with those factors. So we definitely understand that other factors are important, but the factors that we look at are things that could be changed by cross-collaboration and public policy advances. Some of our data sources are the census. We receive data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, all public information that we use in order to compute our scores for the index. So I'll share with you all now some findings from 2015, and we'll later on look at some of the findings and some of the communities that you all are from. One of the things that we found in 2015 was that Vermont had the highest opportunity score, and it's a state that's scored in the top 5 over the past 5 years that we've been doing the index. New Mexico was the state with the lowest opportunity score, and Nevada was the state with the most improved score. Our top 5 states being Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, North Dakota, and New Hampshire, and our bottom 5 states, which unfortunately sometimes are a lot of times states that are in the South, are Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nevada, and New Mexico. Despite these findings, something that we found overall is that opportunity has increased across the nation over the past 5 years by almost 9%. We've seen unemployment fall 44%. We've seen high school graduation increase. But despite these things, we've also seen median income decrease in households over the past 5 years. And we've also seen the inequality gap continue to increase by 3.4%. We've also seen poverty increase by 10%. And we've seen the rate of disconnected youth fall by 4.8%, so that's a bright spot. And even though that has fallen, we've seen the rate of disconnected youth still be high and still higher than what it was during our 2008 recession. So although we do have youth that are making strides towards gaining their high school diplomas, we are still seeing great rates of disconnected youth throughout the nation. So the most strongly correlated indicators that we see throughout the index over the past 5 years have been poverty rate, the rate of disconnected youth, and the percentage of adults with high school education and post-secondary education. So something we've all seen throughout our index is over the past 5 years, no matter what community we've looked at, we've seen that when young people do well, communities as a whole do well. And a profile of some of the disconnected youth that we've seen, 48% of them being women, 52% of them being young men, and 39% living in poor households, which makes the index that much more important to know the communities in which the students that you serve are coming from. And this is a little bit more information about the profile of our disconnected youth. They really come from a variety of different backgrounds, not one particular student is in the position of being disconnected. So some index data about some specific communities that some of you all may be from is, one is Dallas, Texas, and we've seen from 2015 to 2011, Dallas improving their score from a D+ to a C, which is great that they've shown improvement. And if you go on the website, you'll see that there's an opportunity score that makes up the 3 scores, but then an economic score, specifically an education score, and a community factor score. Another community we looked at was Orange, Florida, which scores have remained the same, and they've seen some slight increase in certain areas. We also looked at Jefferson, Alabama, comparing 2015 and 2011, and seeing their scores go from a C to a C+. Mecklenburg, hopefully I said that right, North Carolina is a community that we also looked at, and noticing their scores remaining the same but seeing slight increases in certain areas. And Wayne, Michigan was another state that we looked at that went from a D+ to a C in their opportunity scores, so seeing some changes and increases in their community. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, also another state that went from a C- to a C, which is improvement, and improving certain things in their opportunity score. And so some of the things that you can do in order to use the index is it can be a powerful tool that can be used locally in your community. We've had people use the index in a variety of different ways, and one of the ways is that we have a coalition member who happens to be one of our opportunity leaders, who are people that are connected to Opportunity Nation but consider themselves local agents of change. So they work to advance public policy in whatever community that they work with. And that might be through working with students, that might be through working with local council people. So we've had an opportunity leader who was a student at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, and he just so happened to have an internship in the governor's office, and took the opportunity to use the Opportunity Index to show his governor what some of the things that they were experiencing in their community, talking about some of the challenges that he encountered as a student. And that moved his governor so much so that there was a new program and initiative that was created solely based on receiving this information from our Opportunity Index. The GAP is an employer that uses the index as a way to identify where there are communities of disconnected youth so that they can become a part of their Lead the Way program, which works to ensure that high school age students that are disconnected get connected back into schools and receive high school diplomas and part-time jobs. And the Wall Street Journal is also another organization that has used and referred to the index as a powerful data tool that they often refer to. So at the end of the day, you all are the agents of change. Data is something that's both qualitative and quantitative, and we look at the index as a quantitative tool. It gives you the numbers about what's going on in whatever particular community, but you all are the qualitative tool. You all are working directly with the students in the communities, and you all can add that context to those numbers. So we just really encourage you to look at the index as a source of information that you can use to really add context and highlight what issues your students might be encountering. What stories does the data tell so that you know how to approach the people that you're working with in the schools and the communities in which you serve? So we hope that it's something that you all find to be very, very useful. Thank you.